BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The US Space Agency NASA says the aborted launch of the uncrewed Artemis rocket to the moon means it's likely there won't be another attempt for at least several weeks. Liftoff was postponed after a much larger fuel leak was detected than the one that prevented the first launch attempt on Monday. The NASA administrator is Bill Nelson.
We do not launch until we think it's right. And these teams have labored over that, and that is the conclusion that they came to. So I look at this as a part of our space program, of which safety is the top of the list.
The UN's nuclear watchdog says the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine has again lost its connection to its last remaining main power line. The International Atomic Energy Agency said the plant is now relying on a reserve line to supply electricity to the grid. Danny Eberhard reports.
Secure connections to the grid matter, not just for supplying power generated by reactors, but also for nuclear safety in terms of providing capacity to cool radioactive materials. The IAEA's head, Rafael Grossi, who's just returned from the plant himself, remains gravely concerned. Ukraine has blamed the latest disconnection on Russian shelling. Moscow alleges it foiled an attempt on Friday night by Ukrainian forces to storm the plant.
The Swedish government has said it will provide Nordic electricity producers with liquidity guarantees worth billions of dollars to try to ensure Europe's energy crunch does not trigger a financial crisis. The Prime Minister, Magdalena Andersson, said Sweden was facing a war winter as a result of Russia's decision to cut gas supplies to the EU, and its financial stability was also threatened. Police in Prague say around 70,000 people joined a march calling on the Czech government to resign over high energy prices and its military support for Ukraine. Organisers say the Czech Republic should be militarily neutral. Here's Rob Cameron.
The groups behind this protest offer a bewildering smorgasbord of solutions, curtailing Czech energy exports to lower electricity bills, withdrawing from NATO and halting weapons supplies to Ukraine, and preserving what organisers termed the integrity of the human body. Far-right supporters in Putin T-shirts rubbed shoulders with communists and knights in chainmail. These disparate protesters were united by one thing. It's time, they say, to put Czech interests first.
BBC News. Health officials in Argentina say an outbreak of infectious pneumonia that's killed 4 people in a clinic in Tucumán province was caused by Legionnaire's disease. 7 other cases have been identified, mostly staff at the clinic. The water and ventilation systems are being checked for the bacteria that causes Legionnaire's, a relatively rare lung illness. A government minister in Pakistan says the floods his country is facing amount to the world's worst climate change-induced disaster in recent history. Ahsan Iqbal said the lives of 33 million people had been affected. He called for help from whoever could give it.
The scale of devastation is massive and requires immense humanitarian response. For 33 million people. For this, I appeal to my fellow Pakistanis, Pakistani expatriates, and the international community.
He insisted the catastrophe was not of their making, as Pakistan produces less than 1% of global carbon emissions. Mali has released 3 female soldiers who were among 49 troops from the Ivory Coast arrested at Bamako International Airport in July. They were described as mercenaries after apparently entering Mali without permission. But Ivory Coast insists the contingent was properly deployed to support the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali. The burial of the last leader of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, has taken place at Moscow's historic Novodevichy Cemetery. He was interred next to his wife, Raisa. The funeral procession was led by mourners carrying 2 large bannered wreaths and accompanied by soldiers bearing Mr. Gorbachev's many awards. He died on Tuesday, aged 91. BBC News.